Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Well, we got like another couple of minutes, don't we? Seems like we got everybody here. Oh, they're closing the doors, so we'll call it good, right? We'll call it good. So, how's everybody doing this morning? Doing okay. Having any difficulty breathing the last couple of days? Yesterday was pretty hard, huh? Yeah, yesterday was pretty hard. And today so the tree pollen's starting to go down, but the grass pollen's starting to come up. And we have the wildfire situation again this year. And then it was, 120 yesterday. It was just crazy. So it's a lot, right? So pay attention if you're having some difficulty breathing, if you have air conditioning at home. Stay inside with that the hottest part of the day. If you don't, try and keep your windows closed and have fans going at least. And then if you're doing some work outside, or you're exerting yourself outside, you might consider a mask just to kind of filter out some of that stuff. So hopefully this won't last too long for us, and things will get better. But that's just where we're at right now, I guess. All right, so let's do a little bit of breathing together here to start. So if you want to come right up to the front edge of your chair and have your feet right underneath your knees. And if it's comfortable, close your eyes and notice your breath. So notice first if you're able to breathe in and out through your nose. That can be a little challenging, again, especially when the pollen is high. You might be feeling a little congested, but the benefit of nasal breathing is that your nose actually filters out a lot of the particulates so it doesn't get into your lungs. And it also conditions the air so that it's just the right temperature for your lungs to receive it. So it's not, if you're in air conditioning, it warms it up a little bit, and if you're outside where it's hot, it cools it down a little bit. The other thing nasal breathing does is it stimulates your nervous system so that you can relax a little bit. So breathing through your mouth, that's a stress response. So when we do that as a habit or unconsciously, and some folks do that, we're not even aware that we're doing it, that can increase the stress level in your body. It kind of makes your nervous system go into overdrive a little bit. So one way to switch into nasal breathing, if it's not sort of natural for you, is to place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And when you do this, you're literally blocking off the passage from your mouth to your trachea. So you have to breathe through your nose. So as you inhale and exhale, notice if it's more effort to breathe in and out through your nose, or if it feels more natural. And is your breath fast or slow? Is it shallow or deep? Is it easier to breathe in and out through one side of your nose than the other? And then can you deepen your breath? So it's like you're filling your lungs like they're two balloons and you're trying to blow up those balloons. So you might have to work at it a little bit. You might have to really try to breathe in a little bit more than you normally would. And as you do, notice if your rib cage expands, if your waist or your belly expands. And notice what else you're aware of with your breath. Maybe there's another way that your body and your mind experience your breath. Some people might see colors as they breathe in and out. Some people might see or sense shapes or sounds or textures. And we all process things in a little different way. We all think in a little different way. And we all experience life in our own bodies in very different ways. So as you continue this nice, long, slow, deep breathing, we're going to add a little movement with the arms. So if you need a visual, you can just kind of open one eye. And on the inhalations, we're going to be sweeping the arms out to the sides and way up overhead. And then on the exhalations, the palms are going to come together right down in through the center of your body. So it's like you're gathering up the breath as you inhale, and then you're pulling it down into your body as you exhale. So you're breathing in, you're sweeping the arms out, and you're lifting. So really extend through the arms, lift like you could lift yourself right up off the chair. And if you needed that visual and you had one eye open, you can close your eyes again. Go back inside the experience in your own body. So we're all going to be moving at a little different pace because we're all breathing a little differently. Some people are going to go faster, some people are going to go slower. The next time you have your hands kind of at the center of your chest, whenever that is, we're just going to pause. So take your time. If you're not there, you'll get there at some point. And deeply inhaling and exhaling, we're going to reverse the direction now. So as you inhale, your arms are coming up. And as you exhale, the arms are coming out. So try and stay tuned into your breath and don't pay attention to anything outside of your own body. And again, you're going at a pace that works for you. And the next time that your hands come to your chest, together at your chest, you're just going to hold here for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. And then you can let your eyes open. We're going to interlace the fingers, and as you inhale and exhale, you're going to press your palms away and round through your upper back. So you're really rounding through that upper back here. Inhaling and exhaling, you can bring your chin down or out to the sides or wherever it feels good, however you feel like you want to stretch your neck and your upper back this morning. So you're inhaling and exhaling. And then release that stretch, bring your hands back in, unlace your fingers, and relace the opposite way. So whatever way you had them before, do it the opposite way. Same thing, we're going to press out through the hands, stretching, getting a nice round through that upper back. Maybe go to the right and left a little bit with the arms, right? So just kind of bringing a little more to the right, a little more to the left. Good, and then release that, come all the way back, release your hands, roll your shoulders, give them a nice roll. As you're rolling your shoulders, turn your head from side to side. And reverse direction of your shoulder rolls. And again, if it feels okay, turn your head from side to side. If that makes you feel dizzy or uncomfortable, you can just keep your head where it is. All right, and then relax your shoulders. And now we're going to take the right shoulder up toward the right ear and lower down, up and down a few times. So we're just bringing that right shoulder up toward the ear, and then we're trying to get it as far away as it can go. So we're like really pulling it down, right? So up and down, up and down. Good. One more time, up and down, breathing in, breathing out. And then we'll go to the left. So lift and lower, lift and lower. And when you lift, really squeeze that shoulder, right? And when you lower down, really pull that shoulder down. Good. How about one more time on this side? Excellent. And we're going to go back to the other side now. As you bring your shoulder to your ear, bring your ear to your shoulder. Right? And relax. So shoulder to ear, ear to shoulder. And relax. A couple more times. It's the old telephone move, right? The old telephone. Holding that on there. One more time. Great. And go to the other side. So we're going to bring the ear to the shoulder and the shoulder to the ear. And then we bring them away. Excellent. How about one more time on this side? Great. Okay, now we're going to bring both shoulders up to the ears and both ears down to the shoulders. Goofy, right? And then bring everything away. Ooh, so your head gets really long. And then both ears to the shoulders, shoulders to the ears. So this is like the turtle move, right? So like a little turtle. And then away. So you're trying to stretch, stretch. How about two more times? Shoulders to ears, ears to shoulders. And away. And last time, shoulders to ears, ears to shoulders. And away. Oh, good. All right, turn your head from side to side. Little no movement. Excellent. Come back to center. We're going to go right into that right side. Take that right arm, sweep it up and around. And as you come forward, you're going to bend your elbow, push forward and up, come back and around. Bend the elbow, push forward and come up, back and around. You got that? So when your hand gets right about to your waist, you're bending the elbow and you're trying to bring it straight up. So it's more like it's like a D instead of an O. So that would be an O, right? So this would be more like a D with a straight line up and then back. Got that? No? Maybe. I'm not saying. Okay. And the next time that you have your hand up, we're going to hold here. And now we're going to go forward. Right? So go forward and then down and up. So it's like a D this way. Got that? Yeah. So we're doing 2 half circles. How's that? Does that make more sense? 2 half circles? One is forward and one is back. Got to think about that a little more, right? Okay. And then let's see if we can make a big O. So go all the way forward, up and around. Good. Next time your arm is down, reverse the direction. Good. Excellent. And then let that hand rest on your lap, and we're going to go right into the other side. So we're going to make the D going backwards first. So we're going up and around. When your arm gets here, you're going straight up. So I'll go sideways so you can see what I mean. Straight up, back and down. So we're rotating the arm in the shoulder joint. So you have one bone in the upper arm. It's called your humerus. Isn't that funny? I think so. So your humerus goes into your shoulder joint, right? So the way your humerus rotates in the shoulder joint is pretty spectacular. So the next time your arm is up overhead, we're going to hold here. Because of the way your joint is fashioned and the way your arm bone rotates, you have more range of movement in your shoulder than in any other joint in your body. So now we're going to go forward. So we're doing that kind of half circle this way and up. So again, I'll go sideways so you can see what I mean. So we're just going all the way forward, back, up. Excellent. Yeah, so it's the most mobile joint in the body, but it's also pretty unstable when compared to, say, the hip, right? So it's the same kind of joint as the hip. All right, let's do big full circle now. Same kind of hip, same kind of joint as the hip, where it's a ball and socket. So meaning the big bone of the leg or the big bone of the arm, at the top of those big bones, they have like a ball, like a big knob. And then the next time your arm is down, you're going to reverse direction, go the other way. And that big ball rotates in a socket. Now, what's different is because of the mobility required in your shoulder. So one more time, we're going to go up and around and bring that hand back down. The difference is in your hip, that ball and socket is like that. It's a pretty deep socket for most of us. It can be a little bit shallower, but it's a fairly good socket in there. So there's more stability in the hip. The shoulder is more, if you think about a golf ball sitting on a golf tee. So that's a very shallow socket. It's that kind of a setup up here in the shoulder as opposed to in the hip. So that's why we have more rotation. Let's rotate both arms up and around. Ooh, so we're doing a little swimming here this morning. Good. And then arms come down. We're going to reverse the direction, go up and around. Good. One more time. And we'll give the shoulders a little bit of a break. Okay, we're going to take the right hand like you're holding a drink, right? And you don't want to drop that drink. So we're just going to go out and back. And try and do that without spilling your drink. And as you come back, I want you to pull your elbow back as far as it'll go. So you're extending the arm as far as it'll go, and then you're pulling the elbow back, right? But all the time, you got to hold on to that drink. What are we drinking this morning, guys? Mimosas. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Nobody said coffee in the last class either. They went for the hard stuff, though. They were going right for martinis. Okay, one more time. All right, let's go to the other side. So got a little drink in the hand here. We're just going forward and back, and we're trying not to spill that. Good. Everybody's doing great. One more time. Excellent. Okay. Let's try both hands at the same time now, right? So again, we've got a drink balanced on each hand, and we're going out and in. And we're pulling back as hard as we can with the shoulder blades, right? And then when we come forward, we're trying to bring those shoulder blades all the way off the back as much as possible, right? So we're just going out and in. Okay, let's make it a little more fun and challenging. So the next time you have your elbows behind you, we're going to hold here. And instead of going forward, we're going to go out to the sides, right? And back in. Let's do out to the sides one more time. Right? Don't spill anything now. Okay, let's go forward. And back and out to the sides. Ooh. Right? And forward. So really round through the upper back when you come forward. Really reach through your fingers and your arms when you come out. How we doing? Are you breathing? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, next time elbows are in, we're going to hang here for a moment. Can you hang here for a moment with me? Want to make it even more fun? Can you serve someone in front of you on the right and someone to your left? And then serve someone to the right of you and to the front on the left. Right? So the right hand comes forward, left hand goes to the side. I see drinks spilling all over the place out there. It's a mess. Be careful when you get up. Somebody's going to slip and fall. No more left, right? No more left. Right. This is tough to do, right? It is. How about one more time on each side? Yeah, you got to concentrate. Okay. And then we got one more. So hold on right here. Bring your elbows in line with your ribs. So instead of being back here, bring your elbows kind of like right in line with your ribs. And now keeping the elbows tucked in and the drink steady, we're going to rotate the arms out and back. Out and back, right? Empty cups, yes. I do this sometimes with folks with a tennis ball or something. That's hard. It's very hard to balance that. Okay. And next time you bring your hands out, hold here and breathe. And just notice, so look at your right and look at your left and notice if you have a difference in the amount of rotation that you have, right? So for a lot of us, there's going to be a little difference in the amount of rotation. And from person to person, it's different. So some people are going to be like way out here. Some people are going to be like right here saying, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So some of that, so let's just relax that, let your hands come back to your lap, roll your shoulders a couple times. Some of that has to do with the hard tissue in the shoulder, meaning the bone and the ligaments in the shoulder, and some of it has to do with the soft tissue, the tendons and the muscles, right? So it really depends. And so it's important not to measure yourself against somebody else, but it is important to just notice, oh, I tend to have more range on my left side than I do on my right side going out like this. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if I've always been like that or if I can work on that, right? Okay, let's do a little bit of work for the wrists. Circle, circle. And circle, reverse. And then we'll do some stretching here. So take your right hand out, fingers up, pull back on your fingers, drop your arm below your shoulder. So we don't want you way up here, I want you down here a little bit. Good. So really pull back on all the fingers, grab them all, get them all back there. You can bend your elbow if you want. You can keep it straight if you want. And then you're going to reverse that, scratch that. Turn your palm up and bring your fingers down this way, right? And now you're going to pull back again. Okay, got that? Yeah, good. I'm glad I got that too, finally. I didn't know where we were going. Okay, we're going to reverse that. Come up. And as you're doing this, I want you to notice we're doing the same stretch, basically, but we're stretching different muscles. We're stretching different tissue, and it feels different. If you're someone who does a lot of close work, fine work, like anything on a tablet or a phone or a computer, crocheting, knitting, anything that requires like fine motor skills like that. This is a great stretch to do for those hands and for the wrists and the forearms. How about one more time each side, each way? Good. And down. Nice. Okay, just shake that out a little bit. Go over to the left side, same thing. So fingers up. So we're stretching the palm of the hand. We're stretching the flexor muscles of the fingers, and then turn it the other way. And flexion, by the way, flexion is when you, with the fingers, when you pull them together like that, these are your flexors that pull your hand together like that. So we're stretching those. And then go back up. If you think about flexion and extension, those are two movements that we make in the joints in our bodies. Flexion is when you're closing the joint, so it's like when you close the door, the hinge closes, and extension is when you open the door. So that's just a nice, easy way to remember. Let's go one more time each way. So pulling back. And again, your elbow can be straight or a little bent or whatever works okay for you. And then pulling back. Good. And then release that. Shake out your wrists and hands a little bit. Let's do some work for the fingers. So flexing and extending the fingers. So flexion, extension. Flexion, extension, right? So that's all that is. And that happens throughout your body, right? So flexion is when I bring my knee up to my chest. Extension is when I bring my knee away from my chest. Flexion is when I bend forward. Extension is when I bend backwards. So it's opening and closing hinges. So as you're doing this, when you make your fist, everybody's thumb's on the outside, right? Okay, let's make a fist now with the thumb on the inside. Just don't squeeze as hard. So let's go outside, inside, outside, inside, and go back and forth, right? So you're just kind of going back and forth. You can look at your hands. Some thumbs might be a little cranky about this, so respect that. If you go inside and your thumb is saying, I really don't like this, you can just kind of fake it, right? You can just kind of do that little movement and not even make a fist, really. Got that? Good. Let's make it more fun. Next time you have your hands extended, we're going to go on the right side with the thumb in and on the left side with the thumb out. Got it? Now switch. And switch. Don't look at me because I'm going to get it wrong and then you'll get it wrong. So we're just switching. I can't look at it. So we're just switching. I am not doing it. Keep going. Is anybody doing this? Good. Good. You keep going. You're going to lead the class. My brain is not working this class. My brain is not doing this movement right now. So I'm just going to do whatever my brain is saying. So it's hard to coordinate this, right? This kind of cross-body thing. What's that? Look what you're doing. You're bringing the thumb way out there, right? All right, let's shake that out a little bit. So it's always good to do some things that kind of mix things up in your body. It's good for the brain. It's also good for movement, right? So what I like to try and do is create things for us to do that are not normal, not regular, not what we do all the time. So we're moving our bodies in ways that we don't normally move our bodies, which I think is an important thing to do. So let's kind of go down to the feet. We're going to we started from the top. We're going to go down to the feet, and then we're going to kind of join back up in the middle of the body. So looking down at your feet, let's lift and lower the toes a little bit. How's that all going this morning? Everybody's toes working? So. All right. Let's make it a little more challenging here. So if you want to sit back a little bit in your chair so that you can extend both legs with your heels on the floor, so that actually you might have to sit forward. So it depends on where you are. Yeah. So now what we're going to do, instead of just pressing the toes down and up, we're going to squeeze the toes and extend. Squeeze and extend, right? So it's like you're making a fist and then you're extending with your toes, right? So you got that? Okay, let's do that and see how fast you can go. So when you extend, really extend. And it's just your toes, right? So it's not your ankles, it's just the toes. Okay, and then let's give that a little bit of a rest. So we got the toes doing the fist and extend, right? So let's do the hands and the feet at the same time. How's that? Right? So we're just making a fist and then a starfish, right? Fist and starfish, fist and starfish. Yes, ma'am. Spread your toes out. That's going a little better maybe for some because you got the hands helping out. A little harder for others because now we got like 4 things going on at the same time. Okay. So let's do this. Next time you're in a starfish, stay there. And you're going to make a fist on your right hand and a fist on your left foot. Left foot. Yep. So right hand is a fist and left foot is a fist. Okay, and then we're going to switch. So starfish on the right hand, fist on the left hand, fist on the right foot, and starfish on the left foot. It's mind straining, isn't it? Yes, it is very mind straining. Yes. Let's see if we can switch. Right? So you're switching. So it's the opposite hand and foot. Right? So if you've got a fist on your right hand, you got a fist on your left foot. If you got a fist on your left hand, you got a fist on your left foot. Now the thing to remember though is with your toes, you're really spreading your toes. Right? This is super important. I cannot emphasize this enough. I teach 2 programs just about feet. Who knew there was that much to learn about feet, right? So your feet are really important for many reasons, not the least of which is that if your feet are in good shape, your chances of falling are going to be less, and that's a huge thing. Okay, relax all of that. Let's bend the knees, bring the feet back down to the floor. So your feet actually have, you got a lot of joints here. You got 33 joints on each of your feet, right? And we don't have a joint in the body where we don't require movement, because it takes a lot of energy to build a joint. It takes a lot less energy for the body to build a bone like your leg. It just throws down the matrix in the same way all the way down. When you've got a lot of bones in a lot of different bones in a location, you've got joints in that location. There's a lot of different factors that have to go into that. Also in maintaining that, right? So there's, in a joint, you've got bones, you've got cartilage, you've got soft tissues like tendons and ligaments, you've got fluids in there. You don't have all of that in a straight bone. You've got trabecular, you've got bone material in there, basically, is what you've got. So it takes a lot more to maintain that. Unfortunately, what we've done with our feet is we've just put our feet in shoes, and we've shut down all of that work requirement from the body. So to regain that, that's my whole goal here, is to help us regain some of that. So let's look down at our feet. And we're going to lift and lower just the big toes. Lift and lower just the big toes. Now you can assist if you want, and the assist would be to hold on to your little toes and as you lift and lower your bigs. Right? How's that going out there? Can you lift just the bigs? Okay, and then place your bigs on the floor and lift and lower just your littles. And that might be a little hard, especially if you've got a big toe that's crossed over. So what you can do is, if you've got your big toe kind of crossed over, you can reach down there and hold that big toe down and lift and lower all those little toes.
Little toes are not obedient.
They're not obedient, I know, right? They're very ornery. Right. And then we're going to lift all the toes up. Keep all the toes lifted, and then see if you can lower and lift just your bigs. So if you're assisting, what you're doing is you're holding the littles so they don't go down. So you're lowering your bigs and lifting your bigs, and you're keeping all the littles lifted. When you're in a standard shoe, you can't do this. You can't do it because your foot is like that. Your foot is supposed to look like that. But after you've been in shoes for a while, it starts to look like that. So let's hold the big ones up, and we're going to lower and lift all the littles. So again, if you're doing an assist, you're holding the big ones up. Good. Okay, let's lift everybody up. Let's spread the toes really wide. And then you're going to place your bigs down. And you're going to move your littles as far away from the bigs as they can go. And your baby toe is going to go to the floor, and all those middle toes are staying up. Yeah. And then relax all of that. That's very hard. So again, if you're in a conventional shoe that does this to your foot, you've likely lost the ability to do that. That is a super important move, to be able to move these two toes away from each other and independent of the other toes, because those two toes, what connects them is something called your transverse arch. And your transverse arch is what gives you the power when you push off. So when you're walking, you need that transverse arch. You need a lot of things, but you need that transverse arch strength to be able to push off. And what I see, a lot of people, and we think this is a product of aging, that as we get older, older people shuffle. And it's not age, it's lack of use. So it doesn't matter your age. If you've lost that ability, if you've lost that strength, you're going to lose the ability and the power there. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to lose that as you get older. We don't have to lose that as we get older. We can stay kind of vital with that and powerful in our feet if we use them. So I'm really passionate about feet. Have you noticed that? So, yeah. So I think we gotta work on them a little bit more. So let's do some work for the ankles, because the ankles are part of your feet, right? So we're pointing and flexing the ankles. Ankle joint is super important. Ankle joint is like the bus driver. The ankle joint is what tells you where we're going. Right? So whatever position the foot goes in, That's what position I'm going in, and it's the ankle that determines that. Okay, so are we all starting on the right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And then we'll put that one on the floor and go to the other one. Good. So you might notice one is easier than the other. Okay. Let's go back to the right, and we're going to do some circles, and let's do some really slow circles. Now, as you're doing your circles, here's a fun thing to do. So as you're doing your circles, I want you to let your toes get really funky. Get them out there, spread them wide, move them around. Yeah, like little monkey feet, right? Yeah. So you don't have to lift your leg up. I was doing that so people could see in the back. Sorry, people are going, wow, that's really hard. Sorry about that. So notice, right? So the slower you go and the more you get your toes in there, can you feel that up into your leg? Yeah, because some of the muscles that control your toes are not actually in your foot. The muscle is in your leg, and the tendon is in your foot. Do y'all know the difference between a muscle and a tendon? So a muscle is the part of the tissue. So let's relax that a little bit. Muscle is the contractile part of the tissue, right? So my biceps muscle, when I bend my arm, my biceps muscle is doing that work, but the biceps muscle has to attach to this bone down here and to this bone up here, and it attaches to the bones via the tendon. So the tendon is just the end of the muscle, and it's less contractile, right? So when we think about moving the toes, you do have some muscles that move your toes in your foot, but you also have muscles up here in your leg, and there are these super long tendons that come down into your foot that actually make that movement happen. Same thing with your hands. So when you do this, right? Those are all tendons in there that are moving the fingers. The muscles that move your fingers, let's everybody do this. So when you do this, your arms are doing the work. Kind of interesting, huh? You don't have muscles in your hand that do this. You have muscles in your arms that do this. When you take your hands and you do this and that and this and that, those are the muscles in your hand that are doing that. Isn't that kind of cool? Good. There'll be a test next week, so study well. So let's go to the other side. Did we point and flex on this side yet? No? Okay, let's do that. We did? Oh, okay. I don't remember, Lois. Thank you. Let's circle then. Let's circle. We didn't do the point and flex? Okay. We did this. We did? We're just doing it. We just did one side. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. All right. So we're going to do those big circles, right? With the funky toes. Right? So big circles with the funky toes. And if we didn't reverse on the other side, we're going to reverse on this side. And again, the slower you go, so make some nice slow movements and let your toes get really involved in here. You can really feel that up into the leg. I can feel on this side, for me personally, I can feel like almost a little bit of a cramp starting here. It's like, oh, if you go any farther with that, that's going to be a crampy thing. Okay, and then let's bring that foot back down to the floor. So we've done a little bit of work for the toes, the feet, the ankles. Let's do a little work for the knees. So just kind of bending and extending. Oh, it's a lot of knee noise out there, huh? Yeah. Knees can be quite noisy. The little crackling noises, it sounds like paper crunching. That's a very normal knee noise. Okay, we're going to bring that foot down to the floor. As a matter of fact, and then we'll do the other side. As a matter of fact, it's such a normal knee noise that it has its own name. It's called crepitus. It sounds awful, right? It sounds like decrepit. But no, it's called crepitus. And it's totally normal. Good. So we got the knees going here. All right, let's get the hips moving a little bit. So bring your hands to your chair. We're just going to lower the knees from side to side. So that's movement at the hip joint. Do you all remember where your hip joint is? Yeah? Do you remember what comprises your hip joint? Ball and socket. Yeah, right. So you got bones, you got the bone of your leg, you got the socket from your pelvis, you got some cartilage in there, you got some tendons, some ligaments, some muscles, you got some fluid in there. There's a lot of stuff in there. Okay. And then come back to center, bring your feet a little wider, and then we're going to go in and out. In and out. So same kind of movement, right? Good. And it's easier to go in than out. It's just how we're kind of made. Okay. All right, and then let's bring the feet together and scoot your backside over to the right side of your chair. And we're going to do a little bit of rotation. So again, thinking about that ball and socket, right? So you got the ball, the head of your femur. So the big bone in the top of your leg is called your femur. It's got a ball on the top of it. Your pelvis on this side. There's like a socket there. And we just did sort of this in and out. And now we're going to do a little rotation in there. So all you're going to do is lift your foot up and circle it around. Right? Lift your foot up and circle it around. And as you're doing this, you can do a continuous circle if you want, or you can stop and rest for a moment. Right? So notice what other part of your body or parts of your body you're recruiting to do this movement. Are you leaning a lot into the other side? Are you shifting your weight more into that other sitting bone? Because you kind of have to, right? And then can you reverse the direction at some point? So go the other way. And notice where you feel it, right? So do you feel it like in the groin area in the front? Do you feel it more in the back? Do you feel it in the side? Maybe you feel it down into the knee. Good, let's put that foot on the floor and we're going to scoot all the way over to the other side. So we just sort of give that side a little rest. And again, you're going to shift more of your weight into your right sitting bone now, but try not to lean too far into that right side. And we're just going to come up and around. So some nice easy circles here. Nice easy circles. And notice your breath. So remember what I said at the beginning when we were doing breath, that when your breath is slow and deep, that signals to your nervous system that everything is okay. So your resting stress level comes down. When you hold your breath, that signals to your body that things are not okay. Let's reverse the direction of those a little bit. And so we stay in that sort of heightened stress response place. And we don't want to be there. That's not a good place for us to be over a prolonged period of time. How about one more up and around? Good. And then we're going to come back to the right side. So something a little different here. We're going to add a little something different here. So we did the in and out movement, right? So that's one movement with the hip. We did the circle movement. And now we're going to combine the two of them together. And we're going to combine them in a couple of different ways. So I'm going to have you lift up your foot, and then you're going to rotate your knee out to the side and see if you can find the gum on the bottom of your foot. Right? And then place that foot back down. So try that again. So lift up, see if you can look for the gum on the bottom of your foot. And back down. So you're using the muscles of your leg to lift that leg out to the side, right? And just notice what that feels like. Notice how much rotation you actually have there, right? Okay, and then let's go to the other side and do the same thing. So you can scoot over, you can stay in the middle, whatever works okay for you. So you're going to bring that knee up, rotate out, and back in. So you want to use the muscles in your leg, not your hands to do that. Yeah. Yeah, if we really wanted to look for gum, then we'd have to go a little bit harder than this. So are you noticing a difference one side to the other? And for those who've had a hip replacement, do you notice a difference there, right? You're definitely going to notice a difference because the aftermarket parts are different than the original. Not better or worse, just different. Okay. Let's go back to that right side now. Now, that should have felt like a fairly normal movement, right? So this is going to maybe feel a little less normal. So you're going to lift up, and now you're going to turn the knee in and see if you can look for the gum this way. Oh, and down, right? So lift up, turn the knee in, and back down. So a couple more of these. So that's a very different movement. And notice where you're feeling that movement in this hip or leg or back, right? It's going to feel like it's in a different place. We're using different muscles and we're stressing different tissues. And when I say stressing tissues, I mean that in a really positive way. It's good to stress tissues. Tissues need stress in order to move fluids in and out, in order for circulation to happen, in order for growth to happen. One more time. Great. And down. Think about bone, right? If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, the thing that they tell you to do is strengthening exercises for your bones, right? You need to stress your bones in order for the bone to build more bone. When bones aren't stressed, they lose bone material. Okay, so we're going to lift and go out to the side and back down. That's why astronauts, why it's so important when folks are in space for a while, when they come back, they have to do a lot of work to get that bone back because they're not being stressed in space because there's no gravity, and so they actually lose some of their bone. And bone is connective tissue. Did you know that? Yeah, bone is connective tissue. What will stress your bones? There's several things. You can stop that if you want. So there's several things. One is lifting heavy things, picking up heavy things, really heavy things. The other is there's other ways to stress your bone, like rotational forces. So like lifting heavy things like this is good, but lifting heavy things in a rotation is even better because your bones rotate. Contrary to what some folks will tell you, yoga and Pilates and walking will not build bone. It won't build bone. It'll definitely make you healthy in other ways, but you need load on the bones in order to make them grow. How about balancing? Oh, bouncing. On like a trampoline? Like on a rebounder? On the ground. I don't think it's enough. It's not enough. It definitely does some work to the heel, but it's not enough to stress the body. Yeah, in that way. Good. Thank you for that. What did I want to do next? I forgot. Take a nap. Yes. Instead of that, though, let's work a little bit on the spine, because these are bones. You got bones in your spine as well, right? So you got bones in, yeah. Yeah. It's not stressing your bones in a way that actually builds bone. It's stressing your muscles and it's stressing your connective tissue. Yeah, strengthening the muscles is great. So the way I like to look at it is things like plank and down dog and things like that in yoga that are strengthening the muscles in the shoulder make it easier for me then to lift weights, right? Because the muscles are conditioned to do that. But you really have to lift, and you have to lift heavy weights to really make a difference. There's, what's that? What's a heavy weight? It depends on what it is you're doing, right? So, oh boy, without getting into that, there's, definitely not 2 pounds. It's got to be something like, a heavy weight is something that is, that you can't lift more than 2 or 3 times. Right? So if I'm gonna do a biceps curl, I have to be lifting a weight that I can't lift more than 2 or 3 times. If I can lift 15 times, it's not heavy enough. Yeah, it's very interesting. And as for, well, most of us are women in here, but for most women, we're told we need to use really light weights and sculpt and do all that kind of stuff, but we really should be lifting heavy weights. Oh, that's a whole other class. That's a whole other class. Oh, yes. I'm not saying we should go. Yeah. So thank you for clarifying that. I'm not saying everybody is going to go home now and grab a 100-pound barbell and, start doing that. Yeah, you gotta move up, because the first thing you got to do is make sure that the muscles and the tendons can handle that. If the muscles and tendons can't handle it, then we're in trouble. So yeah.
Next week there will be no class.
Next week I'll be here by myself, right? Yes. All right. Let's do a little work for our spines, shall we? All right. So thinking about your spine, thinking about flexion and extension. All right. So flexion is when we close the hinge. Extension is when we open the hinge. So we're just going to start by thinking about bringing the chin to the chest. So we're flexing the upper part of the spine. And then we're bringing the nose down toward the navel. And that's flexing sort of the middle part of the spine. And then we're going to bring the hands to the thighs and bring your forehead as close to the floor as you can. And that's flexing all the way down the spine. Then you're going to push into your hands. And you're going to just sort of uncurl all that way up. And as you come up, you're going to draw your shoulder blades together, squeeze your shoulder blades together. You can lift your chin slightly, so that's extension. So flexion is forward all the way, kind of rounding the spine, and extension is backward. All right? So we're just breathing in and breathing out as we're flexing and extending. And see if you can feel this. So I'm going to give you like a little, little visual as you're doing this. Your spine, the top of your spine, starts up inside your head. So we think of the spine as ending at the skull, but it doesn't. The spine actually comes up inside your head a little bit. You got your top two vertebrae that are up inside your skull a bit. And then the bottom of your spine, your tailbone, actually ends down into the crevice of your buttocks. So it's way down there. It's probably a third of the way down through the crevice of your buttocks. So can you move your spine from inside your head to all the way down to your bum? Right? So flexion and extension. One more time, forward and back. Good. And then coming back into sort of that neutral position. So that's a fundamental movement for all of our joints, to flex and extend. So with the spine, we think about flexion and extension as forward and back, but we also flex and extend from side to side, right? So if you think about your vertebrae, they're stacked on top of each other. They have this movement forward, and then they have this movement to the side. So we're going to do that same thing here. If we think about bringing the ear to the shoulder, let's start on the right side. So the ear goes to the shoulder. So what you're flexing right now is the right side of your neck. What you're extending right now is the left side of your neck. Got that? So we're going to continue that. So you're going to bring your ear to your shoulder, now your shoulder toward your hip. So what we're flexing is this right side of the spine, so the rib cage, the right side of the spine, and what we're extending is the left side of the spine near the rib cage. And then can you get even more over there a little bit? And you might feel it down into the hips. So we're still on that right side. And then we're going to come all the way up. Right? So just notice now, just from holding that for a moment, do you notice that your left side feels like a little bit longer? It might feel like you're a little cattywampus on your chair, right? So let's try the other way. So we're going to take the left ear to the left shoulder. Right? And then bring the shoulder down toward the hip. And have your feet flat on the floor. That way you're really providing yourself with a good base of support. And then come over a little bit more. So again, you can feel that the left side of your spine is flexing, meaning the hinges are closing on the vertebrae. And then on the right side, they're extending. And you're breathing in and breathing out. And then we're coming all the way back. So again, just kind of notice for a moment, right side, left side, what does that feel like? Let's try that one more time on each side. So going to the right, kind of bringing the ear to the shoulder and the shoulder to the hip, and then the head down. Breathing in, breathing out. And coming back up. Going to the other side. Breathing in, breathing out. And coming back up. Good. So we've got this forward and backward movement, flexion and extension that way. We've got this side to side movement, which is flexion and extension in that direction. And now we're going to do a little bit of rotation. So that's another thing it's unique to the spine because there are so many joints in the spine that we have this ability to rotate. So if you turn to your right, keep your sitting bones on the chair, or keep them from sliding on the chair, sorry. And then come back and let's turn to the left. So you can see that there's movement here in the right and left side. So let's go back to the right. There's this sort of rotational movement that's happening. And breathe in, breathe out as we turn to the left. And come back to center. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips. And this is another really cool feature of our spines that we don't get in a lot of our other joints, is we get this flexion and extension, especially in the side bending realm, and we get rotation at the same time, right? So to demonstrate that, let's take the right elbow and forearm down onto the right leg. Now you can feel that you're in flexion on this right side, right? So you're in flexion and you're in extension on the left side. You can take your left hand to your left shoulder, and you're going to pull that elbow back. Now you're rotating. And then you're going to pull that elbow forward like you could touch your knee. So pull the elbow back and pull it forward. And you're still maintaining the weight in that arm on the knee. So we're in a side bending position with the spine, which is a flexion on this side. And we're doing rotation. And these are complex movements. And we probably don't do them a lot. And that's why it can feel stiff and why it can feel foreign. So one more time. Good. And then from here, take your left hand to your left thigh, and we're just going to kind of push up a little bit. So we're kind of helping ourselves up. So again, when we don't do these movements, we lose our ability to do the movements. And I don't feel like it's so much. I think we have a tendency to say, well, that's just age. That's just that I'm getting older, or that's that I'm this age, and so I can't do that anymore. You can't do it anymore because you haven't done it, right? So some things won't look the same as when you were 5, right? Because your body is a lot different in its structure than it was then, but there's no reason you can't squat at your age now. You won't look like you did when you were 5. But there's no reason you can't squat. Sitting on a chair is squatting, right? Sitting without like putting all the weight on the chair, that's squatting. We should be able to do that. So let's go the other side. Let's bring that elbow down. So again, we got that side bending. So we're all about getting movement where there isn't movement, right? Take your right hand to your right shoulder. Okay? So same thing. We're in that side bending movement, and we're just going to do this little rotation here. So we're really supporting the body by having the elbow or the forearm on that thigh, right? I wouldn't want you doing this like just kind of free in the wind, because that's a lot of force, a lot of shearing force on the spine that we definitely don't want to do. But there's no reason why we can't do this kind of movement here, right? Rotating, bending. Good. Breathing. Are we breathing? Yeah. Good. How about a couple more? And last one. Good. Okay, take your right hand to your thigh, and you're going to just kind of switch it all over. Good. Bring your feet closer together. Close your eyes. Let's take a couple of breaths in and out and just notice how you're feeling. So are you able to breathe in and out through your nose? If you find that challenging, take your tongue and put it up on the roof of your mouth and see if that helps. If your nose is blocked, well then you need a little auxiliary with the mouth, and that's okay. And notice all the parts of your body that you moved today. So your fingers and toes, your hands and feet, your ankles and wrists. We work the elbow joints, we work the knee joints, We worked the hips and the shoulders. Oh boy, did we ever. We worked all the different parts of the spine. So the upper part of the spine, your cervical spine, which is your neck, your thoracic spine, which is the part of your spine that contains your rib cage, and your rib cage contains your heart and your lungs. And then the lower part of your spine, your lower back, down into your sacrum. And we talked about the bones. We talked about the arm bone, the upper arm bone going into the shoulder socket, the upper leg bone going into the hip socket, and how they're similar in some ways and different in some ways. And the importance of stressing the body, of stressing tissues. If we want to build muscle, we have to stress that muscle, those muscle fibers to build more muscle. If we want to build more bone, we have to stress the bones to build more bone. Breathing in, breathing out. That's a constant movement in your body. Let's take in one more nice deep breath together. Let it out with a sigh. And when you like, you can open your eyes. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day.